All right, Alexander and Steve. Let's continue with the economics part. So in the last session, we were discussing about this chapter production function. And before proceeding further in this chapter, let's revise everything. So first of all, in this chapter, we have talked about the meaning of the production, wherein I have explained that production is what? Production is a process by which inputs are converted into output. And all those inputs which are used for the purpose of production in economics are known as the factors of production, such as raw material, machines, electricity, building, and labor. All of these things are collectively known as the factors of production. Then factors of production can be further categorized into two parts: fixed factor and the variable factor. Those factors that does not change with the change in the level of output, whether output increases or decreases. If the requirement of the fixed factor remains constant, that means it is a fixed factor. And variable factor are those factors that keep on changing from with the level of production. That means if you increase the production, the requirement of the variable factor will increase, and if you will reduce the production, then the requirement of the variable factor will be reduced. Now after that, we have understood different types of product. So in economics, we have three types of product: the total product, marginal product, and the average product. Sum total of output produced by all the units of variable factor is known as the total product. Output produced by one labor approximately on an average basis, that will be considered as the average product. And additional production made by the additional labor, it will be treated as the marginal product. Then okay, so we have completed the concept of factors of production and the product in the last session. So now today we will talk about the law of variable proportion. Okay, so just give me a moment. Let me just a minute. Okay, let me first explain you what is law of variable proportion through a small example. Then we will understand this on the PowerPoint. Okay. So we will talk about law of variable proportion. Okay. So law of variable proportion, what does it says? It says that if a producer, let's say this is a producer, and let's say this producer uses two kind of factors for producing good. Let's say he's using two factors, and obviously those two factors will be fixed factor and the variable factor. So let's say this producer is using fixed factor. Machine will be his fixed factor. Machine will be the fixed factor. Okay. And he is also using variable factors. Variable factors. For what purpose? For producing goods. So variable factor, and variable factor, by variable factor we mean labors. So these factors are basically being used by the producer for producing product, for producing goods, for producing product. Okay. So let's presume that he have only 5 machines initially at the beginning of the business. He have 5 machines, and at the very beginning of the business he have only one labor. Okay. So what law of variable proportion says? Law of variable proportion says, because machines are fixed factor and labors are variable factor, so whenever producer wants to increase the production, in order to increase the production of a commodity, producer will be adding more variable factor in the business. because fixed factors are constant. So in order to increase the production, let's say currently by using 5 machine and 1 labor, he's producing 100 units of output. Okay, currently he is producing 100 units of output. Now let's say he wants to increase the production. So in order to increase the production, only which kind of factor can be changed? Alexander, which kind of factor can be changed to increase the production? Fixed factor or the variable factor?
Variable.
Variable factor can be changed only. So let's say he added one more labor to the business, to the production process. So now there are 2 labors, but there are same quantity of machines are same, but because more labors are added to the business, therefore when more labor will come into the business, the overall work pressure from the first labor will get reduced. Now the efficiency of the workers will increase, and the now work will also get divided between 2 labors. So the eventually the overall productivity of both the labors will increase. So earlier, when there was only 1 labor, the production was only 100 unit. When one more labor will be added to the production unit, the production will now increase to 300 unit. So this clearly shows that when additional labor is added to the business, added to the production process, the total product increases. All right. Now, do you think by adding more labor, production will keep on increasing? Do you think when we will add more labor to the process of production, let's say more labor is added to the production, machine are kept constant, but only labors are increased. So this will give you the positive outcome. This will give you more output. Answer is yes. This will give you more output. Let's say this time your overall output will be 600 units. Okay. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, do you think this process will continue forever? If we keep on adding more amount of labor with the same amount of fixed factor, producer is going to get the same result in the future also. That means the product will keep on increasing in the same way. Initially it increases by, let's say initially it increases from 0 to 1,100, then from 1,000 to 300. That means there is an increase of 200 units of output, and from 300 to 600 there is there is an increase of 300 units of output. And let's say when he add more labors to the business, now there are 4 labors and machine are kept constant again, machine are same, still the production increases to, let's say 1,000 units. Okay, so production increases by 400, and next time when he will increase the labor keeping the same amount of X factor, still you will get the same result. Still the production increases by 600 units. That means overall production will rise to 1,600 units. Okay, now because now all the machines are occupied, now at this point when the laborers will add more amount of labor, oh sorry, the producer will add more amount of labor. Let's say now he added 6th labor. So 6th labor is going to give you the same result as the earlier labors were providing you. Answer is no. Let's say if 6th labor is added to the production process, what will happen? By adding the 6th labor, the contribution made by 6th labor is only, let's say 200, because he do not have any machines to work. So he is basically he will have to wait for others to finish his work, then he will be provided with a machine, then only he will be able to contribute to the production process. So eventually when more labor are added and he do not have any machines to work for, so ultimately what will happen? The production will increase, but production will not increase as much as it was increasing earlier. So production only increases by 200 units. Getting my point? So initially production was increasing at an increasing rate, 200, 300, 400, 600. Now it start increasing at a decreasing rate. Getting my point? So that is what law of variable proportion says. Law of variable proportion says that if a producer keep on adding more variable factor with the same quantity of fixed factor, if producer will keep on adding more labors, more variable factor with the same amount of fixed factor, then what will happen? Initially what will happen? First of all, initially the marginal product, the extra production will keep on increasing. That means every additional every additional labor will be able to produce more quantity of output as compared to the previous labor. If previous labor was contributing 200 marginal product, then the next labor will be able to produce 300, next will be able to contribute 400, and the next will be able to contribute 600. All right. And after a certain point, at a certain, when all the machines are occupied, then after that, after certain point, marginal product will start decreasing. Initially marginal product will increase, but after a certain point it will start decreasing. And if you still keep on adding more labors, then eventually, finally what will happen? Finally the marginal product will become negative. Let's say I have added the 7th labor. Just try to understand this. When I will add 7th labor, keeping the same quantity of machines are still fixed, machines are only 5, but we have added one more labor. So now there are 2 laborers who are idle, they do not have any machines to work at. So ultimately, when the 7th labor will come into the production unit, he won't be able to contribute anything. Let's say he contributed 0. So that means your total production will still remains 1800. Earlier you were able to produce 1800, still you are producing 1800. Why it is happening? Because the 7th labor that you have added to the operation, he is not contributing anything. And similarly, after that point, if you goes on increasing the 8th labor also, if you added the 8th labor, now what will happen? When the 8th labor will come to the production process, and if machines are kept constant, now you're, instead of increase in the production, instead of contributing anything in the production process, he will be affecting the production in an adverse manner. The overall product will decline. So let's say production will decline by let's say 50 units. All right, so now the total product will only be 1750 units. Getting my point? That means what law, that is what law of variable proportion says. Law of variable proportion says initially the marginal product will increase, because when more labors are added to the business, when more labors are added to the operation, when more labors are added to the production, because they have machineries to work at, therefore they will be able to contribute more as compared to the previous labors, and eventually the marginal product will keep on increasing. But after a certain point, when all the machines are utilized already, when there are no machines to work at, there is all the fixed factor are already in use, then in that case marginal product will start to decrease. It will start decreasing, and eventually if you still keep on adding more labors, then eventually what will happen? Marginal product will become negative. Instead of contributing anything into the production process, new labor will be affecting the production process adversely or negatively. That is what law of variable proportion says. Alexander, is this clear? Steve, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's now read the definition of the law of variable proportion. Law of variable proportion, what does it say? Law of variable proportion says, according to law of variable proportion, as more and more units of variable factors are applied with the same amount of fixed factor, when more labors are applied with the same amount of fixed factor, that means only labors are increased and machines are kept constant, then what will happen? 3 things will happen. Number 1, initially at the beginning, what will happen? Marginal product will increase with every additional unit of variable factor. That means when at the beginning of the production, more labors are added to the production unit, they will be giving you positive return. They will be giving you more contribution as compared to the previous labor. Every labor added in the initial process of the business, in the initial process of production, will give you the more return as compared to the previous labor. That means he is providing you more return. That means marginal product is increasing with every additional unit of variable factor. But after a certain point, what will happen? After a certain point, marginal product will start decreasing. Will start decreasing with every additional unit of variable factor. When more labors are added after a certain point, marginal product will goes on declining. And if you stopped at this point, this will be okay. But if you keep on adding more labors, then eventually what will happen? Marginal product will start becoming zero, and it may eventually become negative also. That means when more labors are added after a certain point, they will not be contributing anything. They won't be contributing anything because they do not have the fixed factor to work at. All the machines are already occupied. Therefore, if you will add more labors, they won't be having any machinery and they won't be able to contribute anything. And eventually, if you still added more factors, then eventually the new labor will be giving you negative returns. We can understand this concept through this example also. Let's suppose we have started a business of printing books, book printing business. And at the beginning, we have kept only one labor and we have 3 machines on which they will be working on. So because we have only one labor and 3 machines and everything is being done by only one labor. So basically this labor, on this labor, there will be a lot of work pressure. So he will only be able to produce total of 10 books in the entire month. So his marginal product will be 10. All right, now in order to reduce the work pressure on this labor, we have added one more labor. So when this new labor come into the production process, same amount of fixed factor are there. But when this labor is added to the business, the overall production increases to 30. That means this new labor have contributed 20 units of output. Is that clear, Alexander?
Yes, sir.
Now what will happen if we add the third labor? Now there are only 3 machines and 3 labors are added to the business. Now when he will be added to the business, all the machines will be getting used, and because all the machines are in the basically process of production, so therefore the total production will increase from 30 to 60. That means the new labor is contributing more as compared to the previous labor. He is contributing 30 units. You can see marginal product of each labor is increasing. Initially only 10 units, then the second labor is contributing 20, then third labor is contributing, the second labor was contributing 20 and third labor is contributing 30. After that, when you will add fourth labor, now you can notice that there are only 3 machines and we already have 3 labors to work on these machines, but we have decided to add one more labor. So by adding this labor, he won't be able to contribute very much in the production process. He will in fact wait for others to finish using machine, then only he will be able to use that machine for the production process. So eventually he will be able to contribute less as compared to the previous labor. So that means his marginal product starts to decline. So this labor is contributing only 20. But hoping that the marginal product will increase in the future, we have added one more labor, keeping the machineries fixed. So this time our product still increases from 80 to 85, but you can notice that this new labor have contributed only 5 units. All right. And if we add the 6th labor, what will happen? Now there is no place and nothing to work in the premises. There is nothing that he can contribute to. So his contribution will be 0. So the total product will remain 0. And now if we have decided to add one more labor, what will happen? Then finally, eventually the marginal product, instead of increasing, it will decrease. So total product will also decrease and marginal product will becomes negative. Tell me, Alexander and Steve, is this clear, both of you?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. Now let's get back to the definition one more time. Let's read it once more. Now it will be more clear to you. So law of variable proportion, what does it say? It says as more and more units of variable factors are applied with the same amount of X factor. That means if more labors are applied with the same quantity of machines, then initially it will be giving you positive returns. It will be giving you increasing returns. Every time marginal product will be increasing. But after a certain point, when more labors are added to the business, they will start giving you decreasing return. And if you stopped at this position, that will be completely okay. But if you added more labors, if you start adding more labors, then what will happen? Your marginal product will become zero, and it may also become negative. All right. Now moving on to the next point. On the basis of this table, we can draw the diagram for the law of variable proportion. So see, in this you can notice this in this. So Alexander, before moving forward, let's just write it down, everything. Write down the definition of the law of variable proportion. Then also draw the table. Then we will be drawing the diagram.
Okay, sir.
Write it down. Let me know when you are done.
So I'm done, sir.
Okay. Just a minute. Steve, you are still writing, or you are also done? Steve, he never responds. Okay. Please draw this table also. This is the same.
Okay.
So we have these variable factor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are basically labors, and this time I haven't prepared the table for the fixed factor, because as we know, fixed factor always remain constant. So there is no need to prepare the fixed factor column. So variable factor, total product, marginal product, and this time one extra column we have prepared for the average product. And on the basis of this table, we will be preparing the diagram that will be on the next slide. Please note it down. Let me know when you are done.
Okay. Sir, I'm done.
Okay, Alexander, just a minute. Okay, so based on this table, we will be preparing the diagram. So on the diagram, we will try to understand how the total product and marginal product are presented on the diagram. Just a minute, let me show you. So this will be the diagram on the we have basically two axes. We have the x-axis and the y-axis. On the y-axis, I have taken the value of the total product and the marginal product, and on the x-axis, I'll be indicating the values of the variable factor, that is labors. All right. Then first of all, we will draw the diagram for the total product. So you can see that on the when only one labor was applied, the total product was how much? It was 10 unit, right? When one labor was there, the total
Yeah.
product was 10. Then when the second labor came into picture, the total product increases to from 10 to
30.
30. So on with the second labor, the total product is 30. When third labor came into picture, the total product is 60. Okay. Then after that, it is 80, then 85, and then it become constant 85 again. And then finally, after the sixth, when seventh labor is added, the total product starts to decline. It declined to 70. So that means when you will draw the diagram for the total product, it will be something like this. Tell me, is this clear?
Yes, sir, understood.
Okay. After that, on the same diagram, we will be presenting the values of the marginal product. So at the first unit of labor, marginal product and the total product both are same now. At first unit, total product is 10 and the marginal product was also 10. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically the marginal product will start from the same point. When second labor is introduced, marginal product rises from 10 to 20. So it increases from 10 to 20. Then at the third unit, when third variable factor is applied, marginal product still rises from 20 to 30, right? But as soon as the fourth labor is added, marginal product starts declining. With the fourth labor, marginal product declined to 20 again. And when fifth labor is added, marginal product is only 5. When sixth labor is added, marginal product becomes 0. And when finally seventh labor is added, marginal product becomes negative. So this is the negative. By adding all the dots, we will be able to draw a diagram. This will be something like that. Okay. So this is the marginal product and that is total product. Is the diagram is clear?
Yes. Yes, sir. But well, do we have to draw the negative side also on the graph?
Yeah, we will have to draw the negative values of the, we will have to indicate the negative of the marginal product also.
Okay.
Okay, let me explain it again one more time. So first of all, we will take y-axis and x-axis. On the x-axis, we will be taking the variable factor. You are not required to write down this in units. You will be writing variable factors only. You will not write it in units. Then on the x-axis, on the y-axis, we will be taking the values of the total product and the marginal product. This should be in the units. Now, when first labor is added, the total product was 10. Then at second, it was 20, then 30, then, sorry, 10, then 30, then 60, then 80, then 85, and again 85. And finally, at the seventh labor, it starts declining. So this will be something, total product will be something like this. And marginal product at first unit, it will remain same. From second unit, it increases. Then at the third unit also, third labor also, it increases again. But when fourth labor is added, it starts declining. Fifth also, at fifth also it declines. At sixth also it declines, becomes 0. And finally at the seventh, it becomes negative. Okay. And by connecting all these dots, we will be able to draw this diagram, which is called marginal product curve, MP curve. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, you can notice one thing here, that till the third unit, till the third labor, right? Till the third labor, what is happening? Till the third labor, marginal product is increasing, right?
Yes.
And also till the third labor, total product is also increasing. So that means till the third unit, both marginal product as well as total product, both are increasing. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But there is one thing that you will have to remember, that when total product increases, when total product is increasing till the third unit of labor, it is increasing at an increasing rate. Every time it is increasing by more value. That means at the first unit, it was only 10, right? But at the second unit, it was 30. That means there is an increase of how much unit? 20 unit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. After 30, it rises from 30 to 60. How much is the change in the quantity?
30.
30, correct. That means it is increasing at an increasing rate. Therefore, you can see this shape is little convex shape curve. And from this point, after the third unit, it becomes concave to the origin. Are you able to locate this? Are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is a little convex to the origin, and after the third unit, it is getting convex to the origin, concave to the origin. So convex figure indicate that something is increasing at an increasing rate, and whenever there is a shape, whenever there is a concave shape diagram, it indicates that something is increasing at a decreasing rate. So that means what I want to say, that till the third labor is added, both marginal product and total product increases, but total product increases at a greater pace. Total product increases at increasing rate. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, till marginal product increases and total product increases at increasing rate, this is considered as the first phase of production. This is considered as the first phase of production. And this is called increasing returns to factor. First phase is called increasing returns to factor when MP is positive and TP is increasing at increasing rate. That means MP is also increasing, TP is also increasing, but TP is increasing at an increasing rate. Is that clear, Alexander? Can we move to the next point?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. After that, after B point, you can see that marginal product starts to decline. From the fourth unit onward, fourth labor onward, at fourth, it is 20, then marginal product become 5, then 0. So you can see that from B to C, from B to D, marginal product is decreasing, right? Marginal product is decreasing, but still you can see total product is still increasing. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
What is happening? Marginal product is getting downward, but total product is still increasing.
Yeah.
Means in the second phase of production, that means when marginal product starts declining, but total product increases at a decreasing rate, this stage is called the second phase. And second phase is known as the decreasing returns to factor. First phase is increasing returns to factor. Second phase is decreasing returns to factor. Okay, got it? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, after the D point, you can see marginal product is becoming negative. And as soon as the marginal product becomes negative, you can also notice that total product is also decreasing. From C point, it is coming down. Total product is also declining. That proves that when marginal product becomes negative, total product will also start declining. So this is the third phase of production. This is the third phase of production. This is known as the negative returns to factor. Name of various stages are given on the basis of marginal product. So it will be easier for you to remember that when marginal product increases, it is named as increasing return to factor. When marginal product starts to decline till it gets zero, it is known as decreasing returns. And when marginal product becomes negative, it will be considered as the negative returns to factor. Tell me, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, sorry, let me explain this again one more time, just a minute. Because this is an important concept and this must be clear to you. Let me draw the diagram for you once more. So we have how many axes on the diagram? We have two axes. So x-axis and the so x-axis and the y-axis. On the y-axis, we will be taking the value of the total product. Total product and the marginal product. Okay, and on the x-axis, we will be keeping the values of the variable factors. That means the values of the levers. Okay, now what will happen? That total product initially increases at increasing rate. So we can draw the diagram for the total product something like this. It will start from this point and it initially increase at an increasing rate. So it will be something like this. It will form a convex shape curve. And after this point, let's say after this point, it will start increasing at a decreasing rate. So it will now form a convex shape curve. And after a certain point, it will become constant to the origin. Just a minute. So it will be constant and then finally it will start to decline. This is how total product is formed. Tell me, is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, till total product increases at increasing rate, till its shape is convex to the origin, till this point, marginal product keep on increasing. So let's say marginal product start from this point. Let's say it start from the same point. So till this point, till this point it will increase, right? It will increase till this point. And as soon as total product reaches its maximum point, it becomes constant. Just when total product become constant, what will happen to the marginal product? Marginal product becomes zero. So at this point, marginal product will be zero. So that means we can drag this line from this point to this point straight. This will be marginal product declining. And when total product starts to decline, marginal product becomes negative. So this will be the diagram for the marginal product. Okay. Now we can indicate various phases. Tell me, this will be the first phase. Let's name it A, B, C, and D. So AB is the first phase. The name of the first phase is, Alexander, what is the name of the first phase? What is the name of the first phase? Increasing returns to factor. And name of the second phase?
Decreasing.
Decreasing returns to factor. Decreasing returns to factor. And name of the third phase? Selvi?
Negative.
Yes, negative returns to factor. So we have three stages. What do you think on what basis these names are given? These names are given on the basis of the behavior of the total product or on the behavior of the marginal product.
Marginal product.
Marginal product, because marginal product is increasing at the first phase, therefore increasing returns to factor. Then it is decreasing, so decreasing returns to factor. Then it is becoming negative, therefore negative returns to factor. So I hope it is clear to you. Alexander, any doubts in the diagram?
No, sir.
So one more thing, let me tell you this also. So the point, just a minute. Yes. The point from where total product is changing its shape. Till this point, the shape of the total product is convex to the origin, and after this point, the shape of the total product is concave to the origin, right? Before
Yeah.
A point it is convex, after A point it is concave. So this particular point, the point till total product is convex to the origin, and after that it is getting concave to the origin. This particular point is called the point of inflection. Point of inflection. Got it? The name of this particular point is point of inflection. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So please draw this diagram indicating all the phases, and also write down the name of the phase. Phase 1 is increasing returns to factor. Phase 2 will be decreasing returns to factor, and phase 3 will be negative returns to factor. Write it down. Let me know when you are done.
Okay.
This is very, very important, and this must come in your exam. This will definitely come in your exam. Done, Alexander.
No, sir. 1 minute.
Alexander, where do you live?
Bahrain, sir.
And you are actually from?
India.
And where in India?
Kerala, sir.
Note it down quickly. Steve, you're done.
Sir, I'm done.
Okay. Okay, so after this we have some assumptions of law of variable proportion. So because this is a law of variable proportion is a law of production, law related to production. So there are certain assumptions of this law. So we will be looking at the assumptions of variable proportion in the next class only. So for now, this is it. In the next class, we will try to understand what are the assumptions of the law of variable proportion. And also we will cover the relationship between the total product and the marginal product, and also the average product and the marginal product. These are the relations that we will have to cover in this chapter. So after that, after covering these topics, we will be done with this chapter. Then we will start a new chapter. So I hope everything that we have discussed in today's session is clear to you. Alexander, any doubts?
No, sir.
We have in today's session, we were talking about the law of variable proportion, where we have learned that whenever in the process of production, when producer adds more labor to the production process with the same quantity of fixed factor, what will happen? So three things will happen eventually. First of all, marginal production will increase. Then then after a certain level of output, when more labors are added to the production unit, then marginal product will start declining. And eventually, when more labors are added, the marginal product becomes negative. Then based on the definition of the law of variable proportion, we have understood, we have prepared a schedule, we have prepared a table through which we have understood law of variable proportion. And also based on the table, we have prepared the diagram for the law of variable proportion. So this is it for today's class. Next class, we will be talking about the assumption and the relationship between the AP, MP, and the MP and TP. So this is it. Thank you so much for taking the class. This is it. Goodbye.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.